Hey everyone, welcome to this week's $1,000 strap search. I've got my 10 straps of singles right here, and I'm going to show you what I found in those. But before I get started this week, let's go through this week's tip. Always have some type of reference material. If you're a coin collector, that would be the red book, of course. There's also a blue book to give you a better gauge on prices. If you are into paper money like me, there's the Freiburg Paper Money of the United States guide. Freiburg right here, great name. Got all of the different bills you're going to find from United States currency. But the thing is, don't just have one point of reference. You want to make sure that you have multiple points of reference. So I also have the official Black Book price guides to paper money. This way I don't have to take either one of them as the gospel according to paper money. This way I'm getting multiple sources, and anything that they both say, well, then I can take that as fact. So you want to have references, and you want to use multiple sources. So that's my tip for this week. Here is the 1,000 in singles. We will slide those out of the way and see what we found. Interesting pulls this time. Yes, this is a $2 bill. I search straps of singles, and somebody put a $2 bill in there. Now, when I found this $2 bill, the first question was, did I just get an extra dollar in that strap? But it turns out that the bill counting machines at the banks can count the denominations as well as the number of bills going through. So this particular strap actually only had 99 bills in it, but one of them being this $2 bill. And the reason I pulled this, aside from the fact that I found it in a $1 strap, was that it's got this little note stamped on the back. It says right here, if you like golden dollar coins and $2 bills, ask for them at your bank. If they're out, tell the manager to order them. So somebody definitely wants to keep $2 bills in circulation. I know they're not the most popular bill out there. They're very popular for people to search, looking for particular dates and things like that. But for some reason, people just don't spend $2 bills. Anyway, to find a $2 bill in a $1 strap with that message, I thought was a very neat find. So let's go through the rest of it. Lots of good stuff this time. We've got a trinary. This is ones, threes, and fours. Another trinary here, zeros, eights, and nines. Kind of a flipper, except the numbers aren't the same. It's zeros, eights, and sixes if you turn it upside down. A little bit of interest, but not necessarily the same number. Another trinary, zeros, ones, and fours. This one was one off from being a repeater there, or a radar number, I should say. If that 4 was a 0, it would have been a perfect radar. Still a trinary. Another trinary, ones, twos, and fours. Another close call as far as repeater or radar numbers go. Did find quads. This one is quad 4s. Found one with quad 7s, and it had a fifth 7 in there. Older note, 2003 A series. Quad 8s, starting with an 8 as well. So 5 8s total in there, but quad 8s. Another quad 8s. And I found a birthday note. This one would be the 19th of September, 1931. So that's the birthday note that I found. A little bit of a mess on this one, but birthday notes aren't that easy to come across. Found an alternator, 64249484, 4 being the alternator there. Lots of stars in this one. All the stars, I believe, were 2013s. Some of them higher numbers, some of them lower numbers. This is going to be the start of my next batch. Like I said, when I get my stars, I put them all together. Once I get about 100 of them, that's when I'll go through them and figure out which ones are the rares. You guys have seen my updates. Here's an interesting one. It's a star note that's also a trinary. It's ones, threes, and sevens. Another star there. Low number star. This has got potential, starting with 2 zeros. And this one is 2009. Yep, 2009. Little ratty. Now we get to the older bills that I found this week. Older bills, this one is 1999. Most of the older bills that I found this time were from 1999. Another one here from 99. So I wasn't too happy with how old they were. But you can see I did get quantity. And with quantity, you put enough of them in there, eventually you'll find one that's worth something. 1995, this one's in decent shape, still paper crisp, still real crisp on that. Oh wait, there's a little tear on the top. And then the oldest bill I found, 1977. 1977, this one is from Minneapolis. You can see the eye right there. Minneapolis note, 1977. You don't find very many notes from the 70s. I say it every time I run across one because, like I said, no one bothered to save them. In the 60s, they were the new thing. Everybody wanted to hold on to them. In the 70s, everybody had them. Nobody cared. So the 70s and the early 80s are rare notes to find because nobody bothered to save them. So that's what I found going through my stacks. So let me bust out something from my safety deposit box. I know I've been on a kick doing errors just because I've had so many errors. I have finally finished going through all my errors. So this is a bill that I acquired while I was doing my run of errors. This one is not an error, at least if it is, I haven't noticed an error on it yet. What this is a $20 national currency note from the series of 1882. This was known as the Second Charter. National banknotes. Where do I begin with these? National banknotes were printed in Washington, D.C. They were issued to national banks. A national bank had to be certified with the Treasury Department, and the national bank would then put on deposit an amount of money in the national treasury. With that, the bank was able to print up to 90% of the value that they had on deposit. And that's why you get banknotes like this. This is from the National Bank of Decatur. Decatur is in Illinois. These notes were good throughout the country. It was always interesting seeing how many different ones there were. And when I say how many different ones, there were a lot. As you can see right here, this charter number, that's what this number is here. This is called the charter number. This was the 4920. This was the 4,920th charter issued by the Treasury in order to disperse national currency. So this one alone, there's 4,919 others, and they, I believe, made it up over 15,000 as far as charter numbers go. Then over here, you've got the serial number on that. Serial number D66941, and that's a 5 underneath there, starting and ending in D's. What makes these so unique, aside from the different towns, each one would have different signatures based on the owner of the bank, the president of the bank, vice president of the bank. Here it says, the signature of the vice president. Over on this side, you've got the signature of the president of the bank. So it's national currency. This note secured by bonds of the United States deposited with the U.S. Treasurer at Washington. The National Bank of Decatur will pay $20 on demand. And like I said, these were national banknotes. These weren't just for a particular state. This one happens to be Illinois, so it does say Illinois on the back. This side here, this is a depiction of the Battle of Lexington. That's what the Friedberg book was saying. Battle of Lexington, sorry. Once again, as I zoom in, you can see that charter number is plastered everywhere. 4920, 4920, 4920 here. And this particular bill is known as a brownback. The bank charters were good for 20 years. The first charter was 1862 to 1882. The second charter, like this one, would be 1882 to 1902. So this was from the second charter. But the brownback, that's these. They're called brownbacks because obviously the backs are brown rather than the standard green. The brownback was the first issue from the second charter. So this is the back of the brownback, and once again, that charter number very bold on the back, 4920. Interesting stuff in here. This note is receivable at par in all parts of the United States. I wanted to point that very first line out because, like I said, these notes were available throughout the country from different national banks. So back then, you could be seeing notes from multiple different states traveling the country, and all of them, of course, were, were redeemable anywhere. There's an interesting line about counterfeiting on the bottom. Counterfeiting or altering this note or passing any counterfeit or alternation of it, or having possession of any false or counterfeiting plate or impression of it, any paper made in, I can't read all this right here. Should have brought my reading glasses to get through all that, but I'll put it up there so you guys can take a look. So anyway, this is a $20 Brownback 1882 $20 national bank note from Decatur. Like I said, national banks, they numbered up to, I believe, 15,000. There were quite a few of them. So just trying to amass a collection of each of those is nearly impossible. Having one example from each charter and each issue, that's a lot more attainable. All right, guys, if you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. I love reading your comments, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.